Hey there. So I finally broke down a little couple weeks back and decided to finally get myself a dust cover for my keyboard. I always thought, it wasn't something I really needed so much, but over time there came to the point where anytime I'd be playing in the upper portion here of these notes, I'd find myself going like this. In the middle of a song, I would just be going like this. You know, there's this nasty kind of dusty feeling. And then up here, I was noticing, and then I finally there came one day when I just took a cloth and cleaned it off, and I'm like, you know what? This isn't working for me. So I finally, and then I was talking to somebody, and they made the comment, you know what, like heck, even if you play it every day, it's not like you're gonna be going up here every day, playing these notes. The dust is gonna get up there, and it's gonna be nasty. So if you don't like it, you're probably gonna want to do something about it. So I finally broke down and went online and shopped around a little bit. I didn't know what a headache it would be to try to get one. Back when I had my first keyboard, which was this little 61 key keyboard, which wasn't very good. But anyway, I got a dust cover for that way back. And it was quite convenient. It was literally just kind of this nice little thing draped over the edges, looked really nice. And then you wanted to use it, you just kind of literally you just grab it like this and off it came. You throw it down somewhere and you play, and when you're done, you just grab it and plop it on. And I thought, yeah, it's about time I go buy one of those. And so I went on Amazon and I shopped around, and there were a ton of them on there, and they all kind of looked the same. And the one I finally ended up getting was this one here, some weird old off-brand thing. I thought, oh, this will be great. Didn't think a whole lot about it. I mean, I shopped around a little bit, but in the end, it seemed like they're all kind of the same, and I'll get what I'm looking for. And I thought, hey, say it's waterproof on top of that, so, you can't go wrong. And finally arrived. Oh, yeah, here's another nice little, beautiful picture there. Just amazing, Thought, yeah, I'll get what I'm looking for. I mean, look at all those happy people. All those happy people playing their piano. And had no idea what their happy piano playing has to do with this dust cover, but, that's how things go. Anyway, it finally arrived. Here's what I got. And so I put it on here, and it fits. I've got to flip it around. If you can't tell, this isn't something I'm in the habit of using. All right, so oh yeah. I mean, it even has a bit for the rest there, which is nice. I mean, that's what you're looking for. All right, and you wrap it around the edge here, and you wrap it around this edge. And then it's nice and, snug, if you want to call that snug. Let me get some better angles here. I mean, isn't this just beautiful? Just absolutely beautiful. Look at all this. Just look at it. And it's kind of hanging. Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. And over here we get this nice little angle here of how it's kind of going underneath, which is, if you really want the waterproof deal to be working for you, I'm sure it's wonderful. But, in case you don't understand my sarcasm here, this thing is disgusting. This thing is absolutely disgusting. The noise it makes, the nasty old wrinkles, the lumpy, bumpy ugliness, and then if you're okay with disgusting, then that's okay. But how about when you actually sit down in front of your piano and say, I'm having the urge, I want to play some playing, and I can't exactly play it like this. I mean, I could try, but it would come out a little odd, so I'm not going to be doing that. So I'm going to be trying to play it. And so I kind of try to play it, It's very, very nice and convenient, isn't it? I finally get this thing off. I can't even get it off. Look here, it's stuck on the edge. And you're done. And you're going to go back to watching your movie that you were watching. So you say, all right, I'm done with my piano. Maybe you turn the power off. Maybe you forget to turn the power off. But whatever you do, you start putting this thing on. And this is so wonderfully convenient, isn't it? All right. And then you can leave. And you're not going to want to come back, because when you come back, you're going to have to start over and wrap this thing off. And notice how wonderfully compact it is, you know. I mean, you can wad it up in a little hole if you want, but once again, it was, needless to say, I guess I'm kind of exaggerating for dramatic effect, but I was kind of disappointed, and I felt like, man, that's not the dust cover I want. So anyway, I kept browsing around, and I was kind of disappointed. I felt like I was on this fruitless journey, because basically everything I looked at kind of looked the same. And the problem, and I don't know if other people have similar experiences, but you look at the pictures here, and okay, so once I looked back at the pictures, I realized, okay, this picture here, I don't know if you can really see it. Yeah, you can kind of tell, if you look close enough, you can tell that it does have that super fitted, kind of like a fitted sheet, that aspect, which is the worst, it's the part that makes it the most inconvenient, because you can't, you know, like with that one I had from my 61 key back 10 years ago, you know, where you just really just grab it and pull it off, you know, and you put it on, you just kind of put it on, you know, like putting a sheet on a bed, you know, the top layer sheet, or putting a blanket on a bed, you just kind of put it on, you know, just drape it over. But you can see, if you look closely, that it has that kind of fitted, you can see that those kind of ruffles that pull it in. But as far as the wrinkled bit, and the fact that it's made out of this kind of like windbreaker jacket kind of material, that's this loud, really annoying, kind of gross sound, you can't tell that. When you look at the picture, it is perfectly smooth. And so as I'm browsing around, you know, and I'm looking for one, I want one that doesn't have this nasty, wrinkly look, that isn't made out of this loud kind of material, and that doesn't have that fitted, you know, fits underneath so you can't pull it off. You have to like work at it with your fingers. And kind of everything I looked at looked exactly the same. You know, you can't see any wrinkles on it. You can't see that it's made out of this nasty looking material, but, you know, so anyway, so finally what I did, I finally found one that did get me what I wanted. I decided to just go for a completely different style. This wasn't what I was looking for, but it was the next best thing. So I ended up getting this one here. I thought, well, if it's hanging there, it's probably not, you know, that suggests it's actually using gravity to put it on. And so this is what I finally ended up getting that made my day. And this is what I finally settled on. And this arrived, and it did not disappoint. And it is not headed for, you know, the landfill. So it looks nice, I think. Now it's not like the one I mentioned I had for my old 61 key, which actually, the thing that was nice with that one was that it was actually made for, a keyboard. So, you know, it was black, for one thing, and it actually had the shape, you know, so it actually descended on this side, and then it went on this side, you know, so it literally kind of hugged it like the other one that I just showed you, except without the disgustingness of how it just kind of wrapped around it too far so you can't pull it off, and it had that nasty, really wrinkly, just kind of gross, shapeless kind of thing. This was just a nice thing that just kind of goes on there like this, except it actually goes around it, instead of this is literally just a, you know, it doesn't have any edges. But anyway, so that's what I really wanted, but this one kind of almost does the same thing. It looks, so it doesn't look like it's part of the piano. It doesn't look like it's actually a dust cover made for it, but it looks fine, you know? When I wake up and I see my piano there, it doesn't make me want to barf. It doesn't make me say, oh! It actually looks, and especially if you know, let's see. Let's balance it out a little bit, just a little bit. There we go. Yeah, so it actually looks, you know, it looks symmetrical. It looks got some nice curves. And let's pull it out a little bit, you know? Of course, I'm not always going to have it on perfect like that, but generally speaking, it looks like a nice piece of my, you know, my area here. And then when you pull it off, just as quickly or as slowly as you want, and there it is, ready to go, instantly. and it looks nice without the dust cover, and it looks decently nice with the dust cover. And so I come to the end of my journey. Found what I was looking for. And generally speaking, I'll sit down and I'll do, that was the sound of my piano bench. I'll do one of these deals. Halfway, and I'll pull it off reverently. Put it on my little table here. And then I'll play to my heart's content. And anytime I come up here, it feels amazing because there's none of this deal going on where I'm finding the dust and kind of collecting up the dust on my fingers, and I'm not finding myself going like here and writing "Hello World" on my on my thing. Now, one of the downsides is this thing's not covered, but we'll see. So far, it hasn't collected a lot of dust. But and these buttons over here, they were also would get super dusty, and then particularly anytime there's like any kind of shape, like there's a kind of an indent right along here, and so that's going to be a dust trap, and all that gets covered. And after you're playing to my heart's content, I just take it in this half form, and I just set it on here, pull it out, and go along my way, you know. And if I come back 5 minutes later, you know, or 2 minutes later, very little headache, very little nightmare to just go like this. And I just did 2 folds, you know, it doesn't matter how many you do. Very convenient. I feel very happy. Very content with this result here. And then, like I said, the only downside that I'm not sure how it'll work out is, is that it doesn't cover this thing up. So in the past, I don't think this part was super dusty. I mean, it's close to vertical in terms of, you know, more or less up and down. So the dust isn't probably going to fit on it that much. So anyway, that's my personal story about the grueling journey of trying to find a good dust cover. When I was quite disappointed when that first dust cover arrived, because it was kind of one of those things where you open your mail and you're like, oh, this is my new thing, and then you put it on and you're kind of thinking to yourself, I mean, what I was kind of thinking to myself was, if this is really the only stuff that they've got, because when I looked online, I wasn't seeing anything that looked any different than this in terms of the pictures and the descriptions. Like, the reviews that this thing got were good reviews. People said it was nice and it fit. And I just don't understand that. And they were people with similar kinds of keyboards. I don't understand how people could say that they thought this was a nice dust cover. I can't understand how anybody could say they thought this would be worth purchasing, let alone worth using, if you like your piano at all. You know, after I bought it, I was thinking to myself, well, who would I recommend this for? Well, if you keep your piano in a dusty corner of the attic, and you never go up there, and you never play it, and you don't like your piano, then by all means, this would be a wonderful dust cover. You know, if you are, let's say you are a grandparent of somebody who plays, and you've got a piano, and then once every 3 or 4 months when they come over, you know, when your grandkid comes over, you might, you know, go up to the attic and uncover it for them. You know, yeah, you go up there and it's covered with mildew and drips of nastiness from the ceiling, you know, whatever, some nasty attic. And then you go up there and you see this nasty thing and you say, hey, I have a piano. And you pull it off with great care, you know. And then, yeah, okay, you know. And then, voila, there is something that looks decently nice up there. Or maybe it's an ugly piano, because probably if you're content with this, you probably have an ugly piano. But yeah, that I could picture if if your piano was like way out of sight and you never actually walk by it, you never look at it, and you don't like it a lot, you don't have a lot of subjective attachment to it, wanting it to be somewhat, treated well, then yeah, I could picture somebody having a dust cover like that and giving it a good review. Everybody gave it. I don't think I saw any negative reviews. Like, I think somebody said it was kind of slightly too big. Not a big deal. It's a little bit too big. But other than that, everyone just said it does what it's supposed to do. Nice dust cover. No complaints. And I don't get that. I mean, I didn't go on and write a review. I don't usually do that, but I guess this is my equivalent of a review. But this thing, on the other hand, it costed me maybe like $5 more than the other one. It wasn't what I wanted, because I wanted something that actually looked like it was part of the piano, like it was made for it. And this one doesn't actually, but it sure does a heck of a lot better than the other one. And it just kind of, looks fine. It doesn't look like it's part of it, per se, but it doesn't look terrible. It looks more or less, it's I like how it kind of follows the contour of the, it creates this kind of curvy effect here. Instead of all that nastiness. And probably the biggest thing, I don't know which one's bigger, the aesthetic aspect or this aspect, but the one that maybe feels a little bigger is just the thought of sitting down to play the piano and having that inconvenience of trying to yank that thing off every time. Because for me, a big part of what makes it so wonderful to have my own piano now that I do, my own keyboard now that I do, is that kind of impulsive aspect of being able to sit down whenever I feel like it, whenever I've got the whim, and the free time, of course, whenever I'm at home and I've got the whim, the impulse, to just be able to sit down and literally just, whatever's on my mind. Whether that's a couple notes, or a tune, or some chords that make me feel good. Anyway, get you around. If you get a dust cover, make sure you get an acceptable one. Or prepare to throw something in the garbage that you paid for.